Good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday afternoon, and it's not Monday afternoon. It's crazy. I wasn't able to do it tomorrow night, so I had to move it to Sunday night. Hope you guys do not mind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Hayden Coker Show, presented to you by J and K Tire in Steele, Alabama. You can go over there. You can get you can get new tires, get your oil change, whatever you need, and they'll get it done for you. If you go over there and you mention Hayden Coker Show, the Hayden Coker Show, you'll get $10 off on your next purchase at J&K Tire. What a weekend for college football, man. You had Colorado and Coach Prime. Then you had Alabama just barely squeaking by USF, it seemed like. LSU whooped up on Mississippi State. Kansas State loses a nail-biter, and they lose off the buzzer to Missouri 30-27. And Auburn, they handled Samford. And guys, I would like to introduce to you my guest for this week. He is the man. He is the GOAT. Ladies and gentlemen, Asheville legend. It is Daniel Laughlin. Daniel, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I appreciate the invite to the show. I've loved the couple of times I've been on here. I was super excited to get back and talk some football with you, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm happy to have you back on. We're gonna go ahead and dive into it if you don't mind. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are just now joining, welcome in. We're gonna have a good show today. Laughlin. So to kick it off, we don't have to go over it too much, but the Alabama versus not UCF, the USF game over the past weekend. What you think about it?
Honestly, I think I was a little more upset after the Texas game. I know a lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about how we looked, but we made the switch from Jalen Milroe to Tyler Buckner, kind of seeing what the offense looks like. If maybe when the lights come on, Tyler Buckner decides he wants to step up and play. Offense looked horrific. Defense has some stuff to clean up, but no, with all due respect to USF, that's not a team you've got to worry about running away from you. It's not like Tyler Buckner's coming in on his third series down 14-0. So if we were going to have an ugly win where we tried some stuff out on offense, see what works, I'm glad it was against USF. Because we're about to get into the bulk of the schedule. Ole Miss coming up next week. You got to get it sorted out till then. So I'm not happy, but got to improve. And so I think they know that, and we'll see how they come out next week.
Absolutely, man. And the thing about last week, it was kind of like it almost seemed going into the game after that first drive, it was like, wow, this is worse than last week. I feel like the change from Milroe to Buckner was terrible, but then you switch over to Simpson, and then I feel like Simpson got better as he was in the game, but it just didn't look great. A lot of people vouching for Milroe to be back in, but you know what? Those same fans were saying, get Milroe off the field last week. So I definitely think that Milroe seems to be the better quarterback here, but we're not going to spend too much time on it, Laughlin. I would like to go ahead and jump in, and we're going to preview some games. We're not going to give our picks. You can actually give your picks. I'm going to wait until the end of the show and give my picks for these games right here. But Laughlin, I want to go ahead and ask you, man, give me a Bama versus Ole Miss breakdown.
This is it's a really tough matchup. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to see this is a team you can't afford to start out 2 punts, 3 punts in a row. I mean, Ole Miss is a phenomenal team. They've got one of the best running backs in the entire country in Quinshon Judkins. If you let him get going, he'll go for 200. And then on the flip side of that, if you look at the two losses that I want to talk about really quick that Bama has suffered in the past 2 years, we got Texas last week and then Tennessee from last year in Neyland Stadium. The problem Alabama had in those games is they just got exploited in the secondary. Offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian, Josh Heupel, they found matchups that they could exploit with their offensive players, and then they just threw it up there. And if they didn't catch the ball, there was a 15-yard penalty coming on it. So I think if you're Lane Kiffin, you're kind of licking your chops because you've got a secondary who has been they haven't been disciplined over the past 2 years. So you've got talented receivers out there. You've got a quarterback. You've got really two quarterbacks who can sling the ball all over the field if you need them to. So Bama's just got to get stuff cleaned up. I mean, penalties are something that if you suffer with them early in the year, it typically comes up in big games all throughout the stretch. So if Bama wants to win, they've got to play disciplined and they've got to get the offense going. Can't be stuck in mud this week.
Yeah, and one thing about it is the last few years, you mentioned the losses from last year and this year. You look at the team just all around, and it's a much it's a much poor. It's a very poor. I'll say this: a very poor disciplined team, and I'll say that. You look at how they performed last year on certain levels. Tennessee is a great example. The defense, the secondary seemed to crumble late. Now that was that was a high-powered Tennessee offense. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but they were still very lackluster in the secondary. What seemed to be last year, and then it seems that has rolled over into this year when it seemed to be all looking up. So you had you coming into the game. Coming into week 1, when you played Middle Tennessee State, it seemed like that you had stuff under control, and then you come into week 2, and it just kind of all falls off the table. So that was something that I was very interested to see last week, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was very shell shocked when I saw that, because it wasn't something that I expected at all. I expected an Alabama team that was going to come in, be very disciplined, and just stick to their game plan. But honestly, it looked like that it was a team that struggled to get into. It looked like a team that struggled to mesh together, and that's just something that Alabama fans are not used to seeing their team do. So that's how I see it. Coming into next week, I would definitely say this is a must-win game, because if you're Nick Saban, you are lighting a fire under the team's rear ends, because the past 2 performances have not been great at all, and especially when you perform lackluster against USF, it's just wow, what's going on, But moving on, Laughlin, we have Auburn and A&M coming up next. But actually, no, I want to get your pick real quick on Bama versus Ole Miss.
So, I've got to ride with the boys in crimson. I have to believe that Nick Saban's going to get the team ready to go. Something that they've got to do if they're going to win this game is you got to affect the quarterback pressure-wise. You can't have a 3rd and 6 and he gets 5-6 seconds in the pocket to pick whichever receiver he decides he wants to throw to. You got to pressure the quarterback. Got to get going on offense. So I'm going to pick Bama, but I think it'll be a really close one.
I'm right there with you, man. Now I'll talk about the pick later, but Alabama's got to have Alabama, if they want to win the game, they have got to have their defense on all cylinders, because that Ole Miss offense is going to come out firing, man. They're good, and I don't want to put that lightly, because that is a very, very good Ole Miss offense. Jackson Dart has improved immensely, so that's going to be a fun one. Auburn versus A&M.
It's kind of weird. I don't know exactly what I'm expecting. Texas A&M, when they started the season out, they looked really good. Looked like they had turned a new corner from a year ago when they looked terrible. They go to Miami and they get a lead early, and then they just lose it. Can't get the offense going. The defense can't make stops. Tyler Van Dyke went for, I think, 5 touchdowns, a couple 100 yards, made him look really good. So Texas A&M is one of the most talented rosters in college football. They've got a very, very talented head coach in Jimbo Fisher. It's rough. And then on the Auburn side, you've got a team with Hugh Freeze first year. The offense hasn't really looked super impressive. The first game looked pretty good, but again, that's against UMass. How much can you really take away from that? We seem to be doing this. We're doing this. We go to California, don't play good on offense. Defense has looked really good, in my opinion. Made big plays when we needed them, getting off the field. Kind of that bend, not break mentality. You might be able to move the ball down the field, but once it gets in the red zone, they're going to start, flying around, hitting, make it tough on you to score a touchdown. So I think it'll be another close game. It just depends on how Auburn's offense comes out. They can't have, Peyton Thorne throwing 2 red zone interceptions against Texas A&M. That's a team that will capitalize on that if you give it to them.
Absolutely. And you look at last week, look at this week. I want to go ahead and focus on this past weekend, since we are just 24 hours fresh off of a week 3 of college football. But Auburn played a pretty solid game against Sanford. The first half was a little iffy. You had those 2 picks in the red zone, which or something doesn't need to happen. But one, I believe, was deflected off an Auburn wide receiver. So it doesn't look great for Auburn right now. Now coming into the year, I had Auburn taking advantage of going on the road to Kyle Field, and I had them stealing a win. This weekend, I think it's a little bit different. My mind has changed on that immensely, but this is still going to be a close game, in my opinion. I don't think there'll be much offense. I think it'll be a very, very low scoring game. But from what I saw last weekend, man, Peyton Thorne he's grown some, and he's been able to run the ball a little bit. So I'm a little bit impressed there. I will say that. But who do you got? You said A&M.
If I really, I'm repping. Might not be able to see. I'm repping the Tigers right now. I want the boys to come back home with a win. If I had to pick a team right now, I'd probably lean Texas A&M. I just think that down the stretch, that might be the team that's going to make the big plays that you have to win games like that. So I would lean Texas A&M, but man, am I hoping for a Auburn Tiger win?
It would be nice. It would be nice. Everybody here knows I am an Auburn fan. Now that is, don't take that lightly, ladies and gentlemen, because I try to make all my picks with the least amount of bias that I can. But I'm picking against Auburn this week. I'm going with A&M, and I just spoiled that pick for later in the show. But I just feel like that was I just feel like that's a given this weekend. I don't think Auburn's going to perform very well on the road. You look at how they performed versus California. It was not pretty at all. All the Auburn fans that I know were like those two guys back there. They were not very happy. They were very scared. Well, I'll say the reactions of people, those things are scary. My stepmom just put them up. My dad walked in the house and he said, "Man, it looks spooky in here." I said, "Yeah." But so, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I stayed up till 2:00 last night watching a football game, and if you would have told me a year ago that I would have stayed up till 2 a.m. watching a football game, I would have assumed you were talking about Auburn and California, and that would have been the only game that I would have stayed up till 2 watching. But no, I decided to stay up and watch another game, and it was Colorado versus Colorado State. And man, I actually do want to go over that game with you real quick before we go into Oregon versus Colorado next week. Because, wow, man, what a game. You had the cheap shot early in the game that took Travis Hunter out. By the way, absolutely disgusting. That was not fun to see. It's not what you want to see in football. But Colorado ended up getting the dub, and Shiloh Sanders was looking like he was looking like Deion Sanders out there. Yeah, he was looking like prime time. Took a pick all the way back to the house. His speed, though, I will say that he almost got ran down. But he's a very good corner. You force a fumble late in the game. He seems to be a really good corner. But what were your takeaways from that game? And Colorado State wasn't necessarily supposed to be in that game, but the fact that they were by the end of the third quarter was miraculous to some point, to an extent.
Yeah, well, I mean, leading up the week, Colorado is one of those teams like Georgia. They really thrive on adversity, and when people are doubting them, they seem to rise up to the occasion. And Jay Norvell comes out, and he says some comments about Deion Sanders, and that seemed like that was going to fuel them. And I was projecting a Colorado by however many points they wanted to score, they would have. But heck of a job by Jay Norvell to get his team ready for that game. I mean, they came out fired up. They were making plays on offense. They were making plays defense. They had, two touchdowns on defense. They looked really good coming out. And then, with Colorado, you've got to be happy with how they performed. It doesn't – on the surface, it sounds weird because that's not a team that they really should be, struggling with if they're going to be, a top 25 contender. But you've seen week one, you got a rough defensive performance. They made some plays, but they had to go into a shootout with TCU. Offense had to step up. Week two, they come out offense flat. Defense has to make a ton of stops. They played really well, and they got the win that way once the offense got rolling. And then this week, they just get into, they get into a deficit early. They look they look a little rough on both sides of the ball. But then after halftime, they come out, and then they start, the gears start turning. They start working. Really happy if you're Deion Sanders with how your team responds to adversity, because you don't know how they're gonna respond until you get into one of those situations. And so I thought Shedeur Sanders looked fantastic. He had that Heisman moment, 98-yard drive, 2 minutes or so left to go in the game. Got to have a touchdown to go into overtime, and he just dink and duck and drove down the field, scored a touchdown. He has that it factor to him.
Absolutely. And something that I was looking at during that game was, Colorado State was not supposed to be in that game. entering the third quarter. It was supposed to be a blowout. Colorado was favored by 20 some odd points. So you go into that game, and yeah, like you said, props to Jay Norvell for getting his team ready and getting them fired up. I know that coming into the week, there was a lot of heat into that game. Like I remember College Game Day announced they were going to Boulder, and I was like, dude, why? It's not going to be close. And then they get there, and it's game time, and Colorado jumps out early. I'm like, hold on now, hold on. And then Colorado State actually has some dogs on that team, man. You look on the edge, you had Muhammad Kamara, dude. He was absolutely phenomenal all night. Mm-hmm. You know, he makes a stupid play late and a late hit on Shadir Sanders that ends up going the other way. But he played phenomenal all night. And the wide receiver end, you had Horton, who it seemed like he ran those shallow crossing routes all night. But holy crap, man! I mean, he was phenomenal. He shocked me. Then on the Colorado side of the ball, you have Jimmy Horn, who played really well. You had Shadir Sanders, who started off the game really shaky, actually, shakier than I thought, anyways. So it was a win is a win, and a win does not always have to be pretty. You're going to have those ugly wins, not losses. You're going to have those ugly wins, and Deion Sanders knows that. And coming in, this is a not necessarily a young team, but with them all being together, then they're considered young because they don't have that much experience with each other. They're 3 games into the season. Now you're starting to build that. You're starting to merge together. That defense is starting to come together. That front seven, though, I will say has to improve. But the secondary isn't awful. So they're going to be tested this next week when they play Oregon. It's going to be a fun one, man. And I'm so ready for it. It's going to be in Autzen Stadium at 2:30. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be Deion going into Autzen Stadium in Oregon. What do you think? What do you got?
Yeah, talk about potential game of the year. I mean, these are both offenses that can, put as many points up on the board as they want to when they're on. 2 defenses that are, they're really stingy. They give up some points, but they will make some plays on the ball. They're really good ball hawks on both sides of it. So it comes down, like you said. I mean, Colorado overturned like 90% of its roster through the transfer portal. Deion came in. There was a whole thing in the offseason like, hey, this is how we're doing things. I'm bringing in luggage. It's Louis Vuitton. So you're not going to play here, most likely. So you need to get out. New roster in. It's Autzen Stadium. It's going to be the toughest environment. It's going to be the best team that they've played so far up until this point. And so I think this could be a game that they drop. I really like Colorado. I like what Deion Sanders is doing, but this is a really good Oregon team. They were good last year. They come into this year. They look like world beaters. I mean, they beat Portland State into the ground in week 1. But it's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun game. Fireworks. I'm expecting fireworks the whole 4 quarters.
Did you see what Portland State did to their opponent this past weekend?
Yeah,
they gave like 90 points on them.
They paid it forward.
I think they played Asbury or somebody, but they hung 90 on them, man.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I saw the score, and it said like 91-0, and I was just sitting there thinking, holy crap! Oregon beat that team by 400 points.
Yeah, they're still scoring.
Oregon would have done to that team who Portland State played.
Yeah.
We got a comment real quick coming over from YouTube. Elena Abernathy, thank you for watching. What do you think about the criticism that Nick Saban is receiving after their loss against Texas? I mean, I think it's warranted. I think everybody expected Nick Saban to get this kind of criticism once they lost that game. I'm not going to put it all on him. No, I say you can't put it all on Nick Saban. You go out there and you just don't look like you're. I mean, obviously, I don't think you're as talented as years before when it comes down to the quarterback position. But you should still be able to, hang tight in Texas, which they did. I'll give them that. They did. It was a really good game down to until like the last 4 minutes. So and then every reality had shook in. So I don't think that you can blame the fans because this is not an Alabama team that they're used to seeing. They're used to the Alabama team that's going out and winning by 50. You look a few years ago, everybody was expecting an Ole Miss to come into Alabama. Well, I say everybody. I expected Matt Corral to go into Bryant-Denny Stadium and have his Heisman moment, man. That's what I expected. I mean, I thought they were going to do good, but And they went out and they absolutely blew them out of the water. I think it was like 42-21. So I think it's warranted. The fans are obviously not happy, but this is just, you don't have as much talent at certain positions this year, and when you don't, I don't think everybody's on the same page. Now, when everybody's on the same page, then you can kind of warrant it. You make those dumb mental mistakes, but this team just doesn't look all there anyways. So I know I'm going on a rant about that, but I definitely do think that the criticism is warranted. But Nick Saban he'll rip into them, and they'll be all right the rest of the year. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be a top 10 team by the end of the year, because I don't necessarily know that. I don't have it in my top 10 right now. But we'll see. We'll see. Laughlin, I want to leave that there. Laughlin, I want to come back to Oregon and Colorado. Who do you have this weekend, man? It's not quite that cold yet in Oregon. I don't believe, anyways. I don't believe. So I don't want Deion Sanders to get frostbite on his remaining toes. But I think Colorado might be all right in this game.
I think they can come out and be competitive. I mean, like I said, they've shown you everything that they can do. They can win with the offense playing well. They can win with the defense having to step up. They can win these, ugly back and forth games. It's going to be a lot. I mean, Autzen Stadium, no disrespect to TCU, but it's not Autzen Stadium. That's one of the best environments in college football. It's going to be an Oregon team that is just really fired up. I mean, all the talk in the Pac-12 this offseason, aside from, realignment with the conferences, has been Colorado, Deion Sanders in the Pac-12. That's it. That's all you hear about. And so that's kind of taken precedent over, some of the really good teams in the Pac-12. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon feels disrespected by how the media has been talking about, the Pac-12. It's been, not 50% about Colorado, 50% about everybody else. Whether that's, fair or not, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon comes out there super fired up, just ready to take it to them. National stage, everybody's going to be watching this game. It's one of the most exciting ones we'll have all year. So I expect Oregon to come out there fired up. It's going to be a really fun game. I expect over under 80 probably. But if I had to lean one way or the other, I would pick Oregon to win a close one.
And that's a great pick, man. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one, man. And the tension between those two is going to be, it's going to be like anything else, because, you look at earlier in the season, before the season started, you had a head coach of Oregon go out there and say, when Oregon, they found out Colorado was leaving the Pac-12, they were like, what did they do for the Pac-12 anyways, So I think that Colorado is probably going to come out with their hair on fire. But I'm not sure, because this is a team that has not started off fast at all this year. You look at their past few games; they've really started out slow and eased their way into the game, and then their offense catches fire. You've got some playmakers who can go out and make some plays. You got Weaver on the outside, Jimmy Horn Jr., Shadur Sanders, Dylan Edwards. Then also Travis Hunter, who will not be here this weekend. I think he's going to be injured, but they've got some playmakers who can really do some nice things. But I would not be surprised if Oregon win this game either. But I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado won it. And I have not checked the line on that. I really do need to do that. But it's going to be a fun one, Laughlin. And Laughlin, a lot of the talk this year is the weather, man, how hot it is, how everything is. It's just, you walk outside and it's just awful. Have you ever decided to try something like food-wise? Have you ever tried to decide to try something that was not too spicy, but not spicy, but not jalapeno? Well, let me tell you what. I've had it before. It's very good, and I'm going to tell you about the spicy biscuit at Chick-fil-A. Man, let me just tell you, it is phenomenal. It's seasoned with a spicy pepper blend and served on a freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Man, let me tell you, it's good. And go try it. You can go down to Pell City down there on Martin Street. Go try it. Absolutely phenomenal. You will love it. And that's pretty much it for the sauce biscuit, man. It's phenomenal. And if you want to go try it, you can go down to Martin Street in Pell City and get it. And say hey to all the employees there. Say hey to old Brian Jennings, who's working the place over there. But yeah, moving on. Laughlin, I have the next one. It is Florida State and Clemson, which is going to be a fun one. Real quick, just give me a prediction on this one. We don't spend too much time.
Honestly, I'd have to lean Florida State. I don't know if Clemson, has it to, pull it out in those big games. I mean, they've not looked great, so far into the season. Doesn't mean that they can't turn it around and, win some games down the stretch, because they're more than in it in the ACC. I mean, Duke has some losable games on the schedule. That's the team they've got to chase, since they're 0-1 against them in conference play. I just think Florida State's proven it. They've played a really good LSU team. They were on fire to end the season last year. So I would lean Florida State probably by 2 scores or so.
I like it, man. And I think it's all going to come down to Clemson's offense and if they're going to be able to hang with Florida State, because Florida State can score, and they can score in a hurry. So I'm going to lean Florida State as well, and we don't have to spend too much time on that one. I'm going to go with them as well. Are you wanting to reset your vehicle or show some room condition? Well, Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail has got you covered with professional grade ceramic coatings, paint enhancements, and corrections, and full interior and exterior details. You can call Tyler Meads now at 256-458-9949 or message him at AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. You can call him at 256-458-9949 or message at AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. I want to talk to you about Alabama Tractor real quick, and Alex Farmer. Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor is great salesman. You go down there, you get it in and out quickly. I'm telling you, man. You can go see my friend Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor in the South's best little town of Asheville, Alabama, at Alabama Tractor. Alabama Tractor specializes in Kubota brand machines and equipment, along with other brand items as well. They also have huge parts and service department to keep your machines up and running year in and year out. Go see Alex and check out their large inventory and ask about their 0% financing. Alabama Tractor is located at 275 6th Avenue in Asheville, Alabama. You can reach them at 205-594-7000. Alex Farmer at 205-594-7000. Or check them out on Facebook at Alabama Tractor in Asheville, Alabama, at Alabama Tractor. You can trust their machines and equipment to work just as well and hard as you do. Laughlin, man. Real quick, just give me a pick. We'll move on for this one. Ohio State and Notre Dame in South Bend. I have a friend watching who is going to love this next pick.
Well, I've got, you got the Buckeyes going into South Bend, Indiana, take on Notre Dame. They're going to get the win. They're going to pull it out. I just think that they haven't looked great, but hey, I would make the argument that if they haven't looked great so far, but they haven't really played anybody too good so far. So, I mean, you going into Notre Dame, Ryan Day, he's a really good head coach. I think he'll have his team ready to play. The offense seems like it's slowly starting to get into form. So I think it could be a fun one, but I'm rolling with the Buckeyes.
Laughlin, can you see the comments on the screen?
No, I don't have Facebook pulled up.
I got
real quick. Yeah, I can see him right now.
So my friend is from Ohio, and like Northern Ohio, and he is a big Notre Dame fan, and he is saying Sam Hartman on top. And I gotta say, I'll make my prediction later in the show. Actually, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to say it right now. I think Notre Dame is going to go into they're going to keep their home field advantage, use it to their advantage, and they're going to walk out of South Bend on Saturday night with a W against the 5th-ranked team in the country, Ohio State. 6th-ranked team, excuse me. 5th-ranked for me. We'll get that in just a minute. Now it's time, man. It's time. I would like to go ahead and share with y'all my top 15 presented by Chick-fil-A in Pell City. Have you ever heard about the new seasonal sandwich at Chick-fil-A? The new honey pepper pimento cheese chicken sandwich is a twist on the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. It features an original Chick-fil-A filet drizzled with honey, topped with pimento cheese, and served on a warm toasted bun with mild pickled jalapenos. Very good. I got to try it the other day. It's very solid. So if you want to go down and try something new, head to Chick-fil-A in Pell City. Laughlin, man, top 10. Who's your number 10 team?
Number 10 team is one of the teams we were just talking about, Notre Dame.
Notre
Got
Dame, man.
List. Yep. Number 10.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I want to give you my so I put 15 teams down. That was my mistake. I put 15 teams down. I remember sending it to you. I remember sending you the message too. I had sat down and I sent you the message, and then I sat down about 5 o'clock or so and looked at the top 10, and then I was like, I got the top 10 done. I was like, dude, I'm going top 15. I'm on a roll right now. So I have a top 15 team, top 15 for you. Coming in at number 15, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. Number 14, I have the Oregon State Beavers. Number 14, I have the Ole Miss Rebels. Number 12, I have the LSU Tigers. And coming in at number 11, I have the Utah Utes. That's where I'm standing right now, man. I do think that this is a make or break game for Alabama. Just now, I'm not saying they won't make a bowl game this year. I definitely do think they will. But within the SEC, I mean, they lose this game. I think they lose the respect of a lot of teams. You know, you go into Bryant-Denny Stadium this year, and you have two teams beat them in Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's not normal at all. So I think if that happens, they lose a lot of respect. So I think this is the biggest. One of the biggest games of the year so far. You go into Texas. I do think that was a big game, but you didn't have a loss. So even if you did lose, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But if you lose to Ole Miss, you're not making the college football playoff. You can kiss it goodbye, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. But yeah, rolling into my top 10. Number 10, I have Oregon. Who's your number 9 team?
My number 19 is the Huskies up north, Washington, looking really good right now.
Baby. They're a good team, man. At number 9, I have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You can go ahead and give me 8 through 6.
8 through 6, I've got Oregon, USC, and number 6 is Penn State.
So you have Oregon, USC, and Penn State.
Yes,
Oregon 8, USC 7, correct?
Yes, sir.
Penn State 6.
Yep,
got it,
through
man.
all their season.
Drew all their season, baby. Coming in at number 8, I actually have the Penn State Nittany Lions. I have them at number 8 this year. Number 7, my bad. Number 9, I have Notre Dame. 8, Penn State. 7, USC. And number 6, I have the Washington Huskies. I'm high on Washington this year, man. I like Kalen DeBoer, and I like what Michael Penix is doing as well. I think the offense is if it's not the best in the country, it's number 2. They're insane this year, and I think they're going to go a long way, and I definitely think they'll be in a college football playoff talk around the end of the year. And in my preseason, I had them coming in at number 4 at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, really good team. Michael Penix Jr. I mean, what a job by him to kind of revitalize his career. He goes to Washington and just becomes one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Yeah,
it was kind of crazy. His first year at Indiana, he was very, very solid. Then the second year, it was the end of the first year. He might have tore his ACL. I think it was the end of the first year. Then the second year, he didn't perform well. Transfers to Washington and has absolutely lit the freaking world on fire. I can't say freaking. I'm sorry. I promised my grandmother I wouldn't say freaking. Edie, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get my tail chewed out after the show. But oh man, Laughlin, you can go ahead and give me your top 5, man.
Top 5 in this order. We got Florida State, Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia.
I like it. I've went a similar path. I have all those teams in my top 5. And I have all those teams in my top 5, just a little bit different of an order. Coming in number 5, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Coming in number 4, I have the Florida State Seminoles. At 3, I have the Texas Longhorns. 2, the Georgia Bulldogs, and finally, numero uno, the Michigan Wolverines. I'm big on Michigan this year. And looking at this past week, I got to see Georgia struggle a little bit with a team that they shouldn't have, but it's an SEC team, so I do get it. And I get that those conference teams can be tough at times. And let me just tell you, South Carolina came out ready to play, and I can't discount South Carolina, but I can discount Georgia because that game should not have been as close as it was. I will say that. Now. Maybe not, maybe Georgia comes out and proves me wrong in a few weeks and they go out there and they're the new number 1. But we'll see on the Hayden Coker Show poll, the HCS top 10. But this is my top 10, Laughlin. And I liked your top 10 as well. Go ahead and run it down for the viewers who are still on right now, the top 10.
Top 10, we got Notre Dame, Washington, Oregon, USC, Penn State, Florida State, Texas, the Ohio State University, Michigan, and Georgia. Yeah, you gotta throw the "the" in there, or so I'm told.
I've got a few buddies from Ohio, and one of them is indeed an Ohio State fan, and he's at work right now. But I will definitely have to clip that and send that to him. I know he'll be happy because he is a big Buckeye fan. He went to I think he went to the Ohio State Notre Dame game last year, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they all went. So
Yeah,
it
I'm gonna
ended
go
up not being too good of a time for my Notre Dame buddy, but my Ohio State buddy, oh, he had fun. He loves it. Laughlin, buddy, thank you so much for joining me right here on the Hayden Coker Show, brought to you by J&K Tire. I highly appreciate it, man. We'll have you on again soon.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Always have a great time coming on here. Love what you're doing with the show. Super happy for you, man. Just keep after it.
Thank you, buddy. You have a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Daniel Laughlin. Daniel, thank you for joining. Coming back, I want to tell you about Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail. Are you wanting to reset your vehicle to show room condition? Well, Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail has got you covered with professional grade ceramic coatings, paint enhancements and corrections, and full interior and exterior details. You can call him now at 256-458-9949. You can call Tyler Meads at 256-458-9949 or message Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. Alex Farmer Tractor Tire. If you need a new lawnmower, tractor, or implement, you can go see Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor in the best little city of Asheville, Alabama. Alabama Tractor specializes in Kubota brand machines and equipment, along with other brand items as well. They also have huge parts and service department to keep your machines up and running year in and year out. You can go see Alex and check out the new, not their new, but their 0% financing. Go in there and check that out. They are located at 275 6th Avenue in Asheville, Alabama. You can reach Alex at 205-594-7000. That's 205-594-7000. And check them out on Facebook at Alabama Tractor, Asheville, Alabama, at Alabama Tractor. You can trust their machines and equipment to work as hard as you do. And we've got some hard workers out there, guys. So if you want a new tractor, lawnmower, implement, whatever, go down to Alabama Tractor and they will get it fixed up for you. All right, guys, we are almost done. We're at 38 minutes in, and I know I've ran a little long today, but man, I've just been on fire. I've got a lot to talk about, and Laughlin had a lot to talk about as well. Gave us his pretty good takes and more. Coming in for my third segment, and I'm going to go through some of my picks. And then I'm going to roll into some NFL. We have one game tonight. That's the Dolphins at the Patriots. And then we have two games tomorrow night. I'm not really sure why that is. We have the Saints and Panthers tomorrow night at the Panthers, and then the Browns, my Brownies, at the Pittsburgh Steelers. But going back to the SEC and college football slate, I've got Auburn and A&M up first. I'm going to go with A&M. I think A&M is improved from last year, and I think Auburn is still trying to find their way through and everything. So I'm going to go with A&M. A&M seems to have just a little bit too much for Auburn offensively, and I don't think Auburn is going to be able to do much on the offensive side of the ball with Texas A&M's defense. So I'm going to roll with the Aggies of A&M. Coming up next, I have Tennessee versus UTSA. Texas at San Antonio. I think Tennessee wins. You have a close loss. I say close loss. It wasn't necessarily close. It was closer than the score showed at the end of the game. Now, in the first half, Florida absolutely beat their brains out, but I think that Tennessee bounces back this week against UTSA. UTSA is not a team to take lightly because they can be very good, but I just don't think they're as good as they used to be. Arkansas at LSU, I'm going with the Tigers. They had a much improved win this past weekend versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They went into Davis Wade Stadium, and they really did some nice things, man. Malik Neighbors looked fantastic. Jaden Daniels looked fantastic. And that defense, I'll go with the trifecta, looked fantastic. So let me just tell you that. So I think that LSU gets the dub tomorrow. Now Mississippi State, South Carolina. Mississippi State coming off a tough loss, going with the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Memphis at Missouri, close one. Missouri takes a dub. I think they're favored by 7, which is going to be a close one, but I think that Missouri ends up edging them out. Rutgers and Michigan. Michigan takes home the W. UCLA at Utah. I've got UCLA in an upset this coming weekend. I think UCLA proves to everybody that they are legit. And Dante Moore comes out and surprises some folks. Dante Moore, for those who don't know, is a freshman quarterback who just came in. They started Ethan Garbers early in the year, former California quarterback. They started him, and I assume that Dante Moore has won the job because he's been getting the majority of the snaps. So I'm going to go with UCLA. I think they have something to prove in Utah this next weekend. Oregon State at Wazoo. I think Washington State gets a W there at home. They are playing an Oregon State team that is going to be very good this year. DJ Uiagalelei has looked fantastic. Well, I say fantastic other than last week or yesterday. He did not look as great as I thought he would yesterday, but they still played good and got the W. So you got 2 3-0 teams. I'm going with Washington State. Iowa at Penn State. I think Penn State gets the W, man, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair between Iowa and Penn State, but Penn State comes out with the win. Now, Ohio State versus none other than the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Give me Notre Dame, man. I'm going with the Notre Dame in South Bend. I think they get the job done. Rolling into Pittsburgh, I think UNC is going to go into Pittsburgh this coming weekend, and I think they struggle early with Pitt's defense, but I think that they end up eventually getting the job done, and they take home a W at Pittsburgh. Now, Texas at Baylor. That's going to be another fun game. I think Texas wins, but I don't think they cover the 14.5-point spread. Now, Colorado at Oregon. This is going to be a fun one. They're playing in Austin Stadium at Oregon. Can Colorado handle it? This is Colorado's had to face some adversity early on in the year. Week 1, you have that early. You jump out to an early lead, but TCU comes back and they jump out to a lead. You have to fight through adversity, and you eventually win that game. Week 2, Nebraska jumps out to an early lead. You don't really get started on offense till late in the second quarter. You win that game. You fight through adversity. And then Colorado State this past weekend, which you had no business losing that game. But sometimes college football works its magic, and college football was drunk this past weekend, let me tell you that. So I'm going with Colorado. You're goofy. I'm going with Colorado. I think they win, and my dad was just making some faces at me, but I'm going with Colorado. And I think they get the upset win in Oregon this weekend, and they become a top 13 team in the nation by next week. If that's going to be true, we'll see. This is a good Colorado team, in my opinion, though. I do believe. Now, that is all for that. Now, I do want to tell you about Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail right quick, ladies and gentlemen. Are you wanting to reset your vehicle to show room condition? Well, Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail has got you covered with professional ceramic coatings, paint enhancements, corrections, full interior and exterior details. You can call Tyler Meads now at 256-458-9949 or message him at AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. If you're looking for a new lawnmower, a new tractor, or a new part or implement, you can go see Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor in the South's best little city of Asheville, Alabama. I can confirm that is very true. Alabama Tractor specializes in Kubota brand machines and equipment, along with other brand items as well. They also have huge parts and service department to keep your machines up and running year in and year out. And they also have a 0% financing. 0% financing. And I know everybody out there is looking forward to that. Alabama Tractor is located at 275 6th Avenue, Asheville, Alabama. You can reach Alex at 205-594-7000. That's Alex Farmer at 205-594-7000. You can check him out on Facebook at Alabama Tractor, Asheville at Alabama Tractor. You can trust their machines and equipment to work as hard as you do. And let me tell you guys, I know some hard workers out there. I live in the country, and I know some hard workers, and they've been down there, and they've been satisfied every time. I already know that. So go down there, get your tractor, lawnmower, part, whatever you need, guys. Now I want to tell you a little something special about tonight. We've got a special game tonight. We've got the Dolphins at the Patriots, which I'm very mad at you, Dish TV, because I cannot watch Sunday Night Football through Dish TV because of you and your stupid negotiation deals. But I'm going to find a way. I'm always going to find a way, because that's what we're about here at the Hayden Cover Show. We don't give up. We fight through adversity. If you can't find the stream on TV, illegally stream it. I'm joking. Do not. Well, You know what I'm saying. Go do it. Anyways, the Dolphins at Patriots. I'm going to take the Dolphins tonight because I feel like the Dolphins are the better team. Obviously, they are playing in Foxborough, so anything is possible. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Like I said, anything's possible, but I'm going to go with Miami. I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Mike Gesicki isn't there anymore. He's actually playing for the Patriots. For legal reasons, that was a joke. Exactly. Daniel Laughlin, that was a joke. And don't come arrest me. Asheville PD. I did not do anything wrong. All I said was if you can't find the stream on TV, find a way to stream it. That's what everybody does, right? I'm going to get demonetized now. Odds are. So Saints at Panthers are coming up next. And this is a great game. It's going to be a fun one, guys, because the Saints, not necessarily proven. Derek Carr is a dog, by the way. And I would like to tell everybody that because I know my good buddy Damian Mitchell would disapprove, whether it's Derek Carr, Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford, Kellen Mond, you name it. Damian Mitchell will get mad at you if you mention him, or any of those players being good. So don't say that around Damian Mitchell. But I'm going to go with the Saints. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have the Chick-fil-A game of the week in the NFL. The Browns at the Steelers. Now, this is going to be a fun one. Let me tell you something real quick, though, about Chick-fil-A. Have you ever heard of the new seasonal sandwich at Chick-fil-A? It's a new honey pepper pimento cheese chicken sandwich. Is a twist on the Chick-fil-A filet sandwich. The filet drizzled with honey. Boom. Absolutely fantastic. It's topped with pimento cheese and served on a warm toasted bun with mild pickled jalapenos. And they're mild. I will say that. I'm not a jalapeno guy. Trust me. I've had too many experiences with jalapenos to know if I like them or not. And let me tell you, I don't like them. But they're just too hot for me. But these are mild jalapenos. The seeds are out of them. They're still good. They have a little bit of kick. And it is a good sandwich. I'll go ahead and leave that there. That is a good sandwich. Go down there to Chick-fil-A in Pell City, and you can try it today. Well, not today because it's Sunday. You should definitely go down there a different day. And you can get that sandwich whenever lunch starts as well. Lunch starts at 10:30, so go down there whenever, and you can get it for you. They can serve lunch at all times of the day, but just whenever you're ready to go eat, go on. But our game of the week, our Chick-fil-A game of the week, but from the NFL, the Browns at Steelers, man, this is going to be a fun one. As everybody knows, I'm a Browns fan. Now we have had some relationship issues over the years, but me and my Brownies we're together. I just want everybody to know that we're like a couple. We're in love. I'm in love with Browns football. I watch them all the time, guys. This is my team. The Browns and the Steelers, it's going to be a close one, guys. But I'm going to let my fandom take over here, and I'm going to say this. The Cleveland Browns are going to walk in to Heinz Field. I actually don't know if it's Heinz Field anymore. I think they might have changed it. But I think that the Browns get the W tomorrow night. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Here we go, Brownies. That's what I'm going to be screaming all night tomorrow night because the Browns are going to walk in to Heinz Field and knock off the 0-1 Steelers, and the Browns are going to be 2-0 for the first time since God knows when, because you win the first game of the week last week, and that is your first opening season win in the NFL. And I think I want to say Jesus. I want to say Jesus walked on water the last time the Browns won a regular season game or a regular season opener. But all jokes aside, guys, that's my pick for the Chick-fil-A game of the week. It's the Browns at the Steelers. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Hayden Coker Show, presented to you by J&K Tire. J&K Tire is happy to support the Hayden Coker Show. You can go down if you would like tire change, oil change, whatever you need. Just tell them the Hayden Coker Show sent you. Mention the Hayden Coker Show. Be sure you mention the Hayden Coker Show and get $10 off of your next purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, it's almost time for Sunday Night Football. I'm going to let y'all go. And if you want to watch if you want to watch Josh Pate, go over to his YouTube and you can watch his live college football show in just about 9 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great day. And do not forget, go Browns, baby. Y'all have a good one, guys.